What's going on, boys? How you guys doing today? Welcome back to the Steam 2 video, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at a build for the Hunter, now this time for the Crucible. And this is going to be something that you can succeed with in pretty much any Crucible game mode, whether you're doing sets resets, Iron Banner, or taking it into Trials. You're going to have a pretty good time with this build. Now, I'm making this specifically right before Trials, so a lot of you guys can go in there and have a pretty good time, especially with the very close range map we're about to have this week. Because this thing, that's where it succeeds. Any close range fights are going to be very hard to win against this build, just because the sheer amount of damage that it puts out there, and the crazy accuracy you get when we put everything together. And the best part of everything is that you can pretty much use it at any skill level. Whether you're somebody that's new to the Crucible, or you're somebody that regularly plays Crucible, I think you'll enjoy this build, and it's going to be pretty effective. So hopefully you guys enjoyed today's build, and if you do, remember to leave a like, and subscribe to the channel in case you guys aren't already for some more builds. And also follow me on Twitch. I'm going to be streaming Trials and you guys will be able to join, so make sure you give me a follow. And now let's actually get started and let's take a look at this build. And first we're going to start with the exotics, since they're the most important part of the build. This build just wouldn't work without the exotics. For our exotic armor, we're going to be wearing the Radiant Dance Machines, and this is a piece of armor that needs no introduction. Ever since the beginning of the episode, this thing has been a menace in the Crucible, now with its new rework. What it does now is that it gives you increased hipfire accuracy, mobility, range, and also some airborne effectiveness. Overall, your weapons are used more effective when you're hipfiring when you have these boots. They're essentially like the hipfire boots. But that's not the only thing they do, because they also let you use your dodge a lot more often, and also multiple of them in a row. Every time that you get a kill with your primary weapon, you get some dodge energy, and if your dodge energy is full, then you can overflow that and get multiple additional charges on top of it. And you can actually stack this up to 3, meaning that you can dodge 3 times just back to back to back with no cooldown on it. Basically, when you have the exotic, you're always going to have a dodge whenever you need it. You just get it back so quickly, because every time that you get a kill, you're just working towards getting more dodges. And a lot of times, you have more dodges than you actually know what to do with, at least in 6v6. That won't be something that happens in Trials too much, but it can definitely happen as well. It just kind of depends like how many kills you're getting. Where it really becomes crazy is when you pair it up with the Void Hunter, meaning that every time that you use one of your dodges, you go invisible. It is just crazy optimal invisibility, and you're basically just off the radar for most of the match. It is amazing, and you can really catch people off guard with it. But we'll get into that a little bit later, once we actually look at how we have our subclass set up. The weapon that we're going to be wearing today is going to be the Tommy's matchbook. This thing is insane when you pair it up with the Radiant Dance Machines. The hipfire on this thing, it's ridiculous. It has no business being as accurate as it is when you hipfire this thing, as it is when it has the Radiant Dance Machines. I was constantly shocked by the amount of accuracy this thing gets with the hipfire. It is just ridiculous. Essentially a last word in not a rifle form. But the thing that really makes this weapon our go-to weapon for hipfiring is its exotic perk. Whenever you do sustained fire with this weapon, it overheats it, increasing its damage and also burning its user. Now that increased damage is no joke, it's pretty much essentially just kill clip, except that you don't actually need a kill. All you have to do is just hold on the trigger, and it makes getting kills with this weapon, or multi-kills with this weapon, super easy. You melt people with this weapon. With the ignition perk active, you can actually kill people in 0.5 seconds. And that's no mistake, there's a 0.5 TTK on an auto rifle that has some ridiculous accuracy with our exotic, meaning that we're just going to be melting people. Like I said, some of the kills that you get with the Tommys just make you wonder, how did I actually kill that guy? Even when you're half health, you can still take on people with full health and still come out on top. It is crazy, and what it does damage you whenever you have that increased damage on the Tommys, thanks to the other perk, Heatsink, you're not really going to be taking as much damage as you would if you were aiming down sights. Because this reduces that overheat damage whenever we're not aiming down sights. And since we're going to be hipfiring just pretty much all the time with the Tommys, it means that we're just constantly not taking that much damage. And it's definitely a very noticeable decrease. This is the damage that you take when you aim down sights, compared to the damage that you take when you're just hipfiring. And it's just night and day. So we don't really have to worry about taking too much damage. Basically, the enemies are always going to be dead by the time it doesn't type meaningful damage to you. And where it can become a problem when you go against multiple enemies, you still have that amazing 0.5 TTK, so there's still a chance that you actually come out on top. And where it might take you a few games to get used to just hipfiring the Tommys, I think it's definitely going to be worth it, and it's something you can pick up pretty easily. Especially with all the increased accuracy from the boots, you're just going to be hitting, like I said, just shots you wouldn't believe. And when you're hit firing, you also get a couple of other benefits, like having your radar just constantly being up, since you're never aiming down sights, and also use better strafing, because you're not like locked down aiming down sights. You're also going to be harder to hit to the enemies, so not only can you hit them easier because of all the accuracy, they also have a harder time hitting you. Now, of course, we're going to be pairing this up with the Void Hunter. For the super, you could go with Spectre Blades, you could go with Deadfall, both of them work pretty well. I tend to prefer the Spectre Blades because they always save my ass in those 4v4 like close trials games, but you could go with Shadow Shot and pretty much end games before that. So this one's going to be up to you. I just tend to prefer the Spectrals. Now for your abilities, for your dodge, you want to go with the Gambler's Dodge. I was using Marksman a little bit, and well, that one was pretty good. You do have a lot of ammo on Tommy's, you have a 100 round magazine, so you can actually get away with not reloading it a whole lot. So I think it's better that you use Gambler's Dodge, so you can use your smoke more often. Now the smoke is something you want to use as much as you can. The smoke does so many different things. It weakens targets, it disorients them, it messes with the radar, and it also stops moving abilities, at least for now. So definitely use your smokes as much as you can, whether it's to deny reses by putting a smoke on them, whether it's to confuse the enemy by messing with the radar, or just by weakening targets and disorienting them. The smoke is just one of the strongest melees in the game. It does so many things, so definitely do not forget to actually use it. And for your grenade, I recommend the Scatter Grenade. I still think the Scatter Grenade is one of the best spawns. It has a very low cooldown, and it does a deceptive amount of damage. Sometimes people don't think that the Scatter will kill them, but it does. It actually does a lot of damage, especially if you throw it right into like a corner where an enemy might be, or if you pair this up with a smoke, it's pretty much guaranteed that you get a kill. Now for the aspects, the first one is going to be the Vanishing Step. Every time that you use our dodge, we're going to go invisible. And since we're going to be getting so many dodges from a exotic piece of armor, we just want to use this as much as we can and always surprise the enemies. If you catch somebody off guard with this and the Tommy's, there's almost no chance that they can recover and actually fight back. And if you catch multiple people off guard, once you charge up the Tommy's and get the extra damage, it's over for the second guy as well. Now our second aspect is going to be on the prowl. Whenever we enter invisibility, we're going to mark a target, and whenever we defeat that target, we're going to get energy for all our abilities. They're going to make a weakening cloud, and if we enter that weakening cloud, we're going to go invisible. It gives us so much for basically just going invisible and doing what we are already doing. And they're super strong against teams that are next to each other, since if you kill the marked target, they immediately essentially drop a smoke bomb at their feet, so their teammates are immediately in the smoke, taking damage, being weakened, and mean that they're just gonna be easier to kill. And if you and your teammates run into the smoke, then you just get some free invisibility. On the pro is fantastic, and they use pairs up really well with all the invisibility that we're gonna be going into. Now for the fragments, we're gonna have the Echo of Vigilance. This is gonna give us a void over shield every time that we get a kill while our shields are broken. Basically just making it easier for us to just follow fights. If we need to take a fight right after finishing one, this can help us basically be able to stay alive longer and possibly get the trade, or just straight up get the kill. Next, we're going to have the Echo Persistence. This is going to increase the amount of time that our invisibility and our overshield lasts, just so we can take some more advantage of them. The increased amount of the invisibility is especially good, used for whenever you go for those flanks. After that, we're going to have the Echo Leeching. Every time that we get a melee final blow, we start health regen. This is going to be pretty good. Just basically every time that you win a melee fight, you immediately start regening health. After that, we're going to have the Echo Dilation, and this is going to do two different things. First, it's going to give us that increased radar resolution whenever we crouch, so it means that we can more accurately see exactly where people are. And essentially just kind of splits our minimap into a couple more zones, so it can be more accurate. And it's also going to give us some fantastic stats by giving us extra mobility and also intellect, two really good stats in the Hunter, not only so we can spam our supers, but also so we can spam our dodge a lot more often. And the final one is going to be the Echo of Explosion, meaning that every time that we get a void final blow, it causes targets to explode, so they can do some more AoE damage around. So if you hit like multiple enemies with your grenade, and only one of them dies and the other one barely survives, then this would just finish it off and give you that double kill. It actually happens a lot more than you would expect. This is why I keep this. Now for weapons that you want to pair up with the Tommy's, I recommend the shotgun. If someone gets a little too close, you can just pull it out and blow them away. And for your heavy, I would say the grenade launchers are still the best, so just go with a grenade launcher. Any good grenade launcher with some good blast radius is going to be pretty good. And lastly, for the mods, these are not really going to be anything crazy, these are pretty normal. But for the helmet, you want to start with some targetings for both your weapons. For your chest piece, you want to go with your flinchings for both of your weapons. For your boots, you want to go Absolution, so you can get a bit of your ability energy every time that you pick up an orb. Better Already, so you can start health regening whenever you pick up an orb. And lastly, a holster for whatever your special weapon is. Since mine is a kinetic, I went kinetic holster. And lastly, for the class item, we're going to have Reaper as well as 2 bombers. Since we are going to be using our class ability a lot, might as well get some grenade energy every time that we use it, as well as being able to make some orbs after getting some kills. So overall, just trying to get the most of our class ability since we're going to be using it so much. And with that, that's actually going to be the end of the build, boys. Now you know pretty much anything you need to know about this build to get into the Crucible and just start hit firing people with the Tomies from just ridiculous ranges. I was not a believer of this build at first when somebody mentioned it to me, like a long time ago actually. But I am now, and it's something that I've been having some fun with, and hopefully you guys will have fun with it in this final week of trials before the Void Hunter gets some nerfs. This is like the final hurrah to the Void Hunter how it is right now, where it's crazy strong. crazy strong. So we put together essentially all the strong things into one build so you can go into trials and just destroy people for some snipers. You know, it's very nice that it's the new weapon, so you guys can go in there, get new weapons, get a new armor, we're still missing some, and hopefully just have a good time in trials. Now you definitely want to play this build in close to mid-range. You don't want to do any type of long-range fighting with this build. That's why the invisibility is so important, so you can close the gap and basically always be in your preferred range. And since we have Endless build this week, it is just the perfect week for this thing to just go off. There's going to be very few lines of sight where you can't really be in your optimal range, meaning that you're always going to be there, always melting with the Tomies. So it's going to be pretty fun, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. Also take advantage to increase airborne effectiveness. Even when you're in the air jumping, you're still going to have some crazy accuracy, so also take advantage of that. But thank you all for watching today. Thank you all for stopping by. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the build. Hopefully you guys give it a try in trials this weekend. And if you do, come back here and let me know what you guys thought about it. Once again, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care everyone. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.